Remember when British homes were brilliantly designed around actual life, not just aesthetics? When every nook and cranny served a purpose, and your house worked harder than you did? Victorian and Edwardian builders packed our homes with ingenious features that solved real problems, from keeping food fresh without electricity to communicating between floors without shouting. However, we've systematically ripped out nearly every clever innovation our ancestors installed. These weren't just quirky antiques. They were sophisticated solutions that often worked better than what replaced them, and understanding what we've lost might just change how you see your modern home. The serving hatch was a window between kitchen and dining room, complete with a shelf and doors on both sides. Before open-plan living, you could pass hot food through without opening doors, keeping cooking smells contained whilst preserving formality. Standard in interwar semis and older terraces, they saved countless steps for housewives working alone after domestic staff became unaffordable. Most were sealed during the 1960s and 70s when open-plan became fashionable, though period properties still showcase them. Before we dive deeper into these forgotten features, give this video a like and subscribe. We still have 29 features left to cover, so strap in. Walking Victorian streets, you'll spot circular metal covers set into pavements, often stamped with ornate patterns. Coal merchants opened these and shot coal directly down chutes into cellar storage, avoiding hallway mess entirely. Cast iron lids featured beautiful foundry marks or geometric designs. Coal cascaded into bunkers built near the street, creating coal dust everywhere and considerable delivery noise. They also posed security risks, despite openings being too small for burglars. Most are now sealed, though conservation areas preserve them as historical features. Picture a cupboard with mesh sides positioned on north-facing walls before refrigeration existed. These air-conditioned food chambers allowed circulation whilst excluding flies and vermin, with evaporative cooling keeping food several degrees below room temperature. Better versions had slate shelves staying cold to the touch, preserving dairy and meat effectively. Positioning mattered enormously. South-facing versions proved useless. When electric refrigerators became affordable in the 1960s, pantry safes were ripped out despite being perfectly functional and using zero electricity. The pulley made consisted of wooden slats suspended on rope and pulley systems from ceiling-mounted cast iron pulleys. You loaded wet washing at waist height, hauled it to the ceiling where rising heat dried everything, then secured rope-to-wall cleats. Standard over Victorian kitchen ranges where heat constantly rose, they worked silently without electricity. Full loads dried overnight in warm kitchens. Anything below 10-foot ceilings failed to work properly, and dripping required water-resistant floors. Modern reproductions now cost fortunes. Every Victorian front door featured cast iron boot scrapers for good reason. Walking anywhere meant navigating horse droppings and mud. Vertical iron blades set in frames let you scrape boots before entering, with designs ranging from simple functional bars to elaborate Gothic revival ironwork. Better examples incorporated bristle brushes for thorough cleaning. Positioning mattered. Too close marked the entrance, too far meant tracking dirt across steps. Their presence signified respectability. They vanished when roads improved and indoor carpeting made dirt unacceptable. Wooden mouldings fixed around rooms about 12 inches below ceilings allowed hanging pictures without damaging walls. S-shaped hooks on cords suspended from rails, letting you adjust height and rearrange artwork without hammering nails. Standard in Victorian and Edwardian homes, they protected plaster walls whilst offering flexibility. Better examples featured ornate moulding matching other architectural details. Rails also defined the decorative picture zone from the plain ceiling area above. When lightweight modern frames and secure wall fixings arrived, picture rails seemed unnecessary. Many disappeared during renovations, though period properties retain them and they're fashionable again in restored homes. These ventilated cupboards attached to north-facing external walls stored meat before refrigeration. Perforated zinc or mesh panels on all sides except the back provided cooling temperatures sometimes several degrees below room temperature. Better versions featured marble or slate shelving conducting heat away, plus drip trays underneath. Zinc perforation patterns required precision. Too large admitted flies, too small restricted airflow. They extended fresh meat storage from 1 day to 3 or 4 in winter. External positioning attracted cats despite mesh, making them theft targets. Positioned off kitchens with external doors, sculleries handled dirty work, washing dishes, preparing vegetables, laundering clothes and storing cleaning equipment. Deep Belfast sinks with wooden draining boards sat beneath stone flag or quarry tile floors handling constant water. Many incorporated copper boilers for heating washing water, with walls tiled halfway up for easy cleaning. This separation kept main kitchens cleaner, with messy preparation happening out of sight. Post-war housing abandoned sculleries entirely, combining everything into fitted kitchens. Modern utility rooms are pale imitations. Now, before we continue, you might be wondering about some of the more unusual features coming up. Stay with me because we're about to explore speaking tubes for inter-room communication and discover why Victorians had better solutions for some problems than we do today with all our technology. Victorian intercoms ran on breath and brass, with pipes running through walls connecting different floors. You'd blow into a whistle to alert recipients, then speak directly into tubes. Sound travelled efficiently through enclosed brass or copper tubes, usually 1 to 2 inches diameter. Bends reduced clarity, so routes needed planning during construction. Tube ends featured ornate decorative fixtures doubling as room embellishments. Effective range was perhaps 3 floors maximum before voices became faint. They also transmitted other noises, creating unexpected privacy issues. Covered brass pans on long wooden handles held hot coals from fires. You'd slide these between sheets 10 minutes before retiring, moving them around to warm entire beds. Brass pans needed perforated lids preventing coal spillage whilst allowing moisture escape. Wooden handles, typically 4 to 5 feet long, kept hands from heat. The ritual involved inserting the warmer during sleep preparation, removing it just before bed. They provided significant comfort in unheated bedrooms, though naked flames near bedding caused devastating fires regularly, and careless users suffered burns. Miniature service lifts connected kitchen to dining room through dedicated shafts via rope and pulley mechanisms. Servants below loaded food onto shelves within 2-foot square cabinets, pulled ropes to raise them, and staff above retrieved dishes. Shafts required design during construction, positioned for efficiency without compromising structure. Some elaborate versions had multiple stops and bells signalling arrival. Hot food arrived quickly without servants trudging stairs, maintaining dining room formality. Construction costs were high, mechanical failures trapped dinners between floors, and shaft design created potential fire risks. During Catholic persecution under Elizabeth I, families built concealed spaces hiding priests from authorities. Master carpenter Nicholas Owen created many finest examples, constructing false walls, hidden trapdoors beneath floors, and spaces in chimneys only found by dismantling buildings. Spaces were barely large enough for crouching, sometimes with chamber pots and water for extended hiding. Discovery meant death for priests and hosts alike. Many remained successfully hidden for centuries, only revealed during 20th century renovations. These weren't conveniences, but desperate survival equipment during brutal religious persecution. Early telephones required dedicated furniture since they were substantial fixed installations. Telephone tables featured waist-height surfaces for phones, seats for lengthy conversations, storage beneath for directories, and sometimes drawers for notepaper. Better examples incorporated mirrors because receiving calls was social events worth dressing for. These emerged in the 1920s, peaking through the 1960s when expensive calls warranted sitting down properly. Hallway placement allowed family sharing. As phones became cheaper than portable, these tables became redundant. Extension phones eliminated hallway sitting, whilst mobiles finished them entirely. These corrugated iron bunkers represented civilian survival during the Blitz. Curved steel sheets bolted together and buried in gardens with earth covering provided blast protection. The government distributed over 2 million between 1939 and 1945, free to lower-income families. Installation required 4-foot deep pits with soil heaped over positioned shelters. Inside conditions were grim. Damp, cold, cramped and dark, with many flooding during rain. 6 people squeezed in at maximum. After war, families kept them as garden sheds initially, though most were eventually dismantled. Victorian builders placed fireplaces on both sides of single chimney breasts, halving construction costs whilst creating thermal mass radiating heat into both rooms. Substantial chimney breasts, often 5 or 6 feet wide, protruded into both rooms whilst bracing buildings structurally. Better examples had separate flues avoiding smoke cross-contamination, whilst cheaper versions shared flues above first floors. Thermal mass meant chimneys stayed warm hours after fires died, continuing heating overnight. When central heating arrived, partially demolished chimney breasts created structural problems. Modern regulations rarely permit new versions. Milk cupboards were built into external north-facing walls with ventilation directly outside. External positioning kept cupboards naturally cool, often several degrees below internal temperature. Ventilation bricks or terracotta ventilators allowed air circulation whilst excluding insects. Slate or marble shelving conducted heat away from stored items. Some versions had dual doors, internal for access, external for deliveries, allowing milkmen to leave bottles without entering homes. These worked remarkably well in British climate, extending fresh milk storage considerably. Refrigerators made them redundant, with most blocked up or converted. Those ornate plaster medallions weren't purely decorative. They disguised and dispersed soot stains from gas lighting. Projecting plaster sections caught soot, whilst complex patterns made marking less visible. Central bosses provided structural anchor points for gas pipes or electrical cables, concealing ceiling penetrations. Victorian examples varied from simple designs to extraordinarily elaborate creations featuring botanical or Gothic revival details. When electric lighting arrived, they became genuinely decorative but remained impressive. Many disappeared during the 1960s and 70s modernisation. Recent decades brought renewed appreciation, with salvage examples commanding high prices. These massive stone or brick fireplaces featured recessed openings large enough to walk into, with built-in seating on either side. Medieval origins saw them in cottages and manor houses alike, providing central heating and cooking space. The recessed design trapped heat whilst protecting occupants from sparks, with chimneys often 4 feet wide or more. Stone or brick benches flanking the fire offered warmer seats in the house. Many incorporated bread ovens, salt niches and hanging hooks within the recess. Open fires consumed enormous fuel amounts, making them inefficient by modern standards. Victorian renovations bricked up many Inglenooks, installing smaller grates. 20th century restorations often reopened them. Before vacuum cleaners, carpet cleaning meant hauling rugs outside and beating dust out with woven rattan or twisted wire implements. Designs varied from simple loops to elaborate decorative shapes, hearts, stars or geometric patterns. The technique involved draping carpets over washing lines or purpose-built frames, then systematically beating them whilst dust clouds billowed. This weekly ritual required considerable physical effort and good weather. Better households had multiple beaters for different carpet types. The implement itself needed flexibility for effective beating without damaging fibres. When vacuum cleaners became affordable in the 1950s and 60s, carpet beaters became redundant. Some survive as wall decorations. These combined cupboards and drawers in configurations optimized for storing household linens. Upper sections featured shelving behind doors, whilst lower sections had wide, shallow drawers perfect for laying linens flat. The term press comes from stacked linen's weight literally pressing lower items smooth between uses. Better examples stood 6 to 7 feet tall in mahogany or oak with adjustable shelves, sometimes cedar-lined against moths. These weren't just storage but status symbols. Well-stocked presses indicated household prosperity. As households shrank and fitted cupboards became standard, standalone presses became impractical. Large copper vessels set in brick surrounds with fires beneath predated electric immersion heaters. Holding 20 to 30 gallons, you lit fires underneath, filled them with water, and waited for heating. Beautiful copper craftsmanship featured rolled rims and sometimes bottom taps for drawing hot water. Wash days meant early morning lighting, hour-long waits, then staged family washing. The same system heated bathwater carried in buckets to tin baths. Heating 30 gallons required significant fuel and time, whilst fire risks caused numerous house fires. Gas geysers and immersion heaters brought rapid abandonment. Usually mounted in kitchens or servants' halls, these displayed all rooms that could summon assistance. Rows of bells, each labelled with room names, rang when someone pulled cords upstairs. Small indicators dropped or remained visible, showing which rooms called. More sophisticated versions included clock mechanisms showing elapsed time. Bells mounted on coiled springs created sustained ringing rather than single chimes. These boards became servants' command centres, dictating daily rhythm and priorities. Multiple simultaneous rings created hierarchy questions. As domestic service declined after World War I, boards remained because removal meant significant work. Positioned near entrances, these dedicated spaces featured benches for removing boots, storage cubbies for keeping footwear, and often scrapers, brushes, and cleaning supplies. Flooring was always hard-wearing, quarry tiles, brick, or stone flags handling mud and water. Some included coat hooks and storage for outdoor clothing, umbrellas, and walking sticks. These transitional spaces prevented outdoor dirt entering main houses. In grander properties, boot boys worked here cleaning and maintaining outdoor footwear. Modern equivalents are entrance halls or porches, rarely having the same dedicated functionality. Contemporary homes have coat cupboards instead. Swinging iron cranes in fireplaces were sophisticated cooking equipment, not decoration. Horizontal arms mounted on vertical pivots allowed pots swinging in and out of fires. Mechanisms varied from simple hooks to elaborate ratchet systems allowing height adjustment. Better examples had multiple hooks for different pot sizes, with ironwork often decorative despite being purely functional. These allowed cooking over open fires without reaching into flames. You loaded pots, swung them over fires, adjusted heights controlling heat, and swung them out when done. As cooking ranges with hobs replaced open fire cooking, cranes became redundant. Pantries positioned between kitchens and dining rooms, these dedicated spaces served as the butler's domain for final food preparation and silver storage. They featured sinks for washing fine china, counters for plating dishes, and locked cupboards storing valuable silverware and glassware. Better examples included felt-lined drawers preventing tarnish and glass-fronted display cabinets showcasing finest pieces. The room's position allowed butlers controlling food presentation without entering kitchens. Many incorporated serving hatches connecting to dining rooms. As household staff disappeared, butlers' pantries lost their purpose. Most were absorbed into enlarged kitchens or converted to utility rooms, though luxury modern homes sometimes include them as status features. Built around hot water tanks, these utilised waste heat for drying and airing linens and clothing. Slatted wooden shelves surrounded central copper cylinders, with whole cupboards well insulated. Rising tank heat created perfect drying conditions for damp laundry, airing stored linens, and keeping towels warm. Heat that would otherwise escape into roof spaces was captured for practical use. Slatted rather than solid shelves allowed heat circulation. Families also proved bread dough, dried herbs, and warmed clothes here. Modern combi and system boilers eliminated large cylinders, removing traditional heat sources. Contemporary airing cupboards are often just linen storage. Small sheds at garden ends contained bench seats with holes over cesspits or buckets. Cesspits required periodic emptying by night soil men, whilst bucket versions meant householders emptied them regularly. Neither option was pleasant during winter midnight visits. Separation from houses had sanitary logic. Keeping waste away reduced disease transmission. Freezing temperatures, weather exposure, no privacy. Hazardous nighttime trips and often sharing between multiple properties made them grim necessities. Massive post-war house building prioritised indoor bathrooms, transforming quality of life. By the 1970s, outdoor toilets were rare except in oldest housing. Small brick chambers built into kitchen fireplaces were specifically designed for baking. Domed brick spaces beside main fires had metal doors, heated by fireplace coals pushed inside, or fires lit within ovens themselves. Brick thermal mass retained heat for hours after fire removal, creating ideal baking conditions. Bakers judged temperature by hand. Specific counts of withstandable seconds indicated correct temperature. This skill required experience and caused many burnt loaves whilst learning. Domed shapes ensured even heat distribution. Heating from coal took hours, so baking happened on specific planned days. As coal ranges arrived, then gas and electric cookers, these became redundant. Victorian and Edwardian entrance halls featured elaborate geometric floor patterns using encaustic tiles manufactured by companies like Minton, Moore and others. These durable clay tiles had colours and patterns running through their entire depth rather than surface glazing, making them virtually indestructible. Common designs included geometric patterns, floral motifs, or elaborate borders framing plain centres. Installation required skilled craftsmen laying complex patterns accurately. Beyond aesthetics, hard-wearing tiles handled muddy boots and heavy traffic that would destroy other flooring. Many surviving examples remain functional after 150 years. Sadly, countless were covered with vinyl or carpet during modernizations, though restoration projects increasingly uncover and restore original tiled hallways. Sturdy iron hooks embedded in ceiling beams hung game, herbs and preserved foods out of pest reach. Multiple hand-forged iron hooks set into substantial beams supported considerable weight. Braces of pheasants or hams might weigh 10 pounds or more. Positioning high enough prevented cats and rats reaching, placed over areas where dripping wouldn't damage floors. Game birds hung by necks to age, hams hung to smoke and cure, herbs dangled in bunches to dry. System worked perfectly in cool, airy larders, utilising vertical space efficiently. As refrigeration arrived and game became less central to diets, ceiling hooks lost primary purpose. There you have it, 30 brilliant British home features that solved real problems with genuine ingenuity, all lost to modernisation, convenience and changing lifestyles. These weren't just quirky antiques, but sophisticated solutions our ancestors developed through necessity and refined through generations. If you've enjoyed discovering these forgotten innovations, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future explorations of British history and heritage. Share this video with anyone who loves period homes or appreciates the cleverness of past generations. What disappeared features do you remember from your childhood home or grandparents' house? Drop your memories in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.